Welcome back.
Hi.
Hello.
We are here with actress and CEO of the Image Monster and one of my very, very best friends, Toccara Cash. We also have Ashley Erin Mitchell joining us.
Reporting
remotely.
live.
From the Spurs game. How's it going, Ash?
Sports corner.
I'm here live in the bathroom reporting.
Oh my God.
You guys, she's for
I
real
hope
and
somebody
it's
starts knocking and is like, here. I gotta go pee.
No, I really
hope
wanted
so,
to be
but
here. So I just wanted to say hello, and I'll stay on mute, and I might pop in for a question and excuse the noise if there is any.
Well, that's how we do it here on Pride the Podcast.
We're just keeping it real.
We keep it real. And honestly,
Right.
Toccara, this should be very familiar to you because you played the fantastic Malika on Everything's Trash. So this should be right in your, you should know how this goes down when we have to put
Yes,
people
honey.
on mute and come back.
Are you saying
Oh,
because
I am no
everything is
stranger to
trash?
it now.
Well, one, because her character was a podcast producer, and two, because everything is
Oh,
in fact
it's trash.
trash.
What did you
Is it
learn?
trash?
What did you learn as a podcast producer? Because we could use some help.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know what you learned.
We
Well,
taught her.
We got,
I was
she
about
did.
to say that is a hilarious question because y'all were my podcast gurus when I was trying to research the part and figure out what I was supposed to be doing. I was like, podcast producer, okay, y'all help me. What can I observe?
Right.
Can I
Yeah,
watch?
'cause
What y'all be doing? What y'all be talking about? How it work? Who gives
Yeah, I
the signal?
remember. Well, when we were watching the episodes, I remember looking at it, and there were certain things you did. I said, "Oh," and I told you in person. I tell you all the time. You were so fantastic in that show, and you know how I feel.
thank
You know how deep I feel about how I feel. So you know. So I love you
do.
very much, and I'm so glad you're finally on here. And I believe that Io has the first question.
I do. I know the answer to this because you're my best friend. But tell us, what is the Image Monster?
Yes. So the Image Monster is a workshop that I created and developed for college-age young women, ages 18 to 25, to help them adopt a selfier. No, that's actually the opposite of what we want to do. To help them adopt a healthier self-image, especially in a social media-driven society like they're in now, right?
Right.
I see all the news reports and the headlines, child, about our teens' mental health and our young people's mental health and what social media is doing to it. But I like to take a more targeted approach and get very specific because our young women, and particularly our young women of color, most of it has to do with body image and self-image.
Wow.
Like 80% of it has to do with that. Since the onslaught of social media in the last, since 2012, eating disorders have sharply risen among all young women, but particularly among young women of color. And that's across all the eating disorders, from anorexia, bulimia, binge eating, body dysmorphia. The plastic surgery has jumped even just since the pandemic, from so many people looking at themselves on Zoom all day, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Surgery is through the roof. And this is the workshop is not necessarily to demonize social media or even demonize plastic surgery or any of those things. It's to help them explore these things, to help them not feel alone, like they're going through it in a vacuum. Because I mean, even us grown ass folks, right? We can cuss on this podcast.
No, absolutely.
You say whatever you want, baby.
Shit. Just did it.
I mean, not whatever you want, but
but yeah, even us grown ass folks be scrolling social media, and I can speak for myself where I have to take breaks, and Io knows that's my best friend. Like, she knows I'll disappear from clean off of Instagram for like a cool month, and they be like, "You all right? You good? You good? Hey, Sanka, you dead?" That's what Io text. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm dead.
But I have to do it to protect my mental health. And so I developed this workshop as a way to address this issue, but also, selfishly, it heals me too. It heals the young woman who wishes she had this when she was a teen, when she was in college, when she was in her 20s, trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? How to deal with this self-image bullshit, really.
Yeah.
Right. You brought up some. Sorry.
Go ahead.
You brought up something before I forget. You brought up something a minute ago talking about how we constantly see each other on Zoom and like how we start to reflect on that. I had never really thought about that. But yeah, at work, I'm constantly, just making sure, like looking at my little bubble. Like, do I look
Yeah,
at?
like how
Do I?
disconcerting is it to be looking at yourself like multiple hours a day, every day? And it's like, what's interesting is that now everybody kind of has that experience. Us as actors, those of us here who are actors, we know how disconcerting it is to have to look at yourself on self-tapes, on, for auditions.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
When you see yourself, when you get that, that first on-screen situation, your first movie, your first TV show.
Yes.
When you looking at yourself on screen, you barely want to see yourself. It's like, oh my God. And that's just a few seconds. But now we're in an age where we're constantly looking at ourselves on a screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not healthy. It's not
it
healthy.
almost seems like, I feel like sometimes when we're doing projects like that, well, I have two things I want to bring up, but one of the things before I forget, when we're doing projects and things like that, you're like really about yourself. You're like, how am I going to look? Like, what am I going to look like? Like, how's this going to go? And you see yourselves like doing little things, especially as actors, we do little ticks that we have. We all have an acting tick that maybe we don't like we all have one. Mm-hmm. And I hate those moments. And I was going to ask you about getting off of social media and taking those breaks. How does that affect you as a performer? Because, they tell us like being online and being that presence is part of your performing. So how are we allowed to take breaks and still be present in that world?
Right. I mean, it's a good question and new terrain we're having to navigate, because personally, I feel like mentally and spiritually, I am so much healthier when I'm off social media. Yeah. I'm connecting with friends in a more authentic way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm having deeper conversations with friends. Like, I'm more engaged in hobbies and and the things that I enjoy outside of work. I'm able to pursue the kind of the side endeavors that I've wanted to do outside of acting, like the Image Monster per se. Yeah. Able to devote more time and energy to that. And I get more, I experience more gratitude, honestly, for what I have and what I have going on versus the compare and despair that we all know happens as soon as you on that joint for like a good 5 minutes. You scroll for 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes, you feeling bad about your skin, your nose, your hair, your stomach, your arms, your house, your car, the fact that you ain't been no trips, like you ain't been no parties.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that that Toccara, that's a big point, because they said there was a study that came out, I think Cosmopolitan did it, where they talked about that a lot of people get depressed around Halloween time, not Halloween, Valentine's, which could be looked at as the same thing in my eyes. But people get depressed because if you don't have a significant other and that's something that you may require, like that you want, you look online and you're like, wow, this day does not feel good to me at all. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people talk about how depressing it can get. And then you have people who are in relationships, it's like they try to temper their relationship on that date to look out for other people. Like, they're like, listen, I can love you all the rest of the year. We don't need to go overboard today, because I know there are people out there who might be feeling some type of way. It goes back to the little kids who didn't get a Valentine when they were in elementary school.
Damn.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
I will say I don't feel like I tempered anything down, but I think like I've made a choice of like, I haven't really posted on like the grid or anything in a very long time, which is strange for me, because at one point I was posting like daily, I was posting all kinds of shit. And I don't know if it's just like I just need like a mental break from having just like, I got off the wheel.
Yeah.
I love
and I did, I guess. Yeah. I felt like I just needed to like,
well, I think
like you said, interact more with my friends in real time, and like,
that's right.
Not be taking videos at concerts and stuff, which I still do, but I mean, we talk about that, and we take how many pictures we take outside in the public that we never post. I have so many pictures in my phone that nobody's ever seen. It's so annoying because we go out like this, like we've never seen each other. We're like, let's take a selfie, like, and then we never post them.
Toccara, did we post a? Yes. Toccara, did we post a single Beyonce? I don't think we posted a single Beyonce picture.
I don't think we not one.
I think we posted a few from your birthday.
I did my birthday, but like she wasn't even really in it like that. It was just really us, like, hey, like we was just so excited to be here. But I'm so glad that you said that, Darrell, because like I had, as Io knows, I always have like my annual Christmas party when I was there in New York. I would throw it. So now we throw it here in LA as well. And like we usually have on the television, like, you know, the digital photo album. That, you know, that scrolls up pictures on the screen, and we always have it on an album that we call Out and About, which is us with our friends and like just you know, family doing stuff. And there's so many, like we have friends who come over and they'd be like, I ain't never seen you post these pictures. Where these pictures been? You got so many. And I'm like, I know. You see them because you are my actual friend and you are in my home and you're seeing these photos.
Right.
But I ain't got time to be, who got time to be posting all this? I will be online all day, every day, and I ain't got that type of time.
I mean, I think I think it's also like we're growing up. It's just like you were saying, Adam, I used to post on the grid a lot too. And the last grid post I think I had was, I don't know what it was, but it wasn't anything of relevance. And, you know, my agent specifically was like, you need to go through that and you need to clean up all your photos of you being out, like, because girl, my grid used to be ratchet. Like she was ratchet, like random photos like on an iPhone 5C that was blurry, and even before then, talking about some night out with my friends, lit, not even no hashtags. You couldn't barely see nobody's face, but I posted it on my grid thinking I was cute. I went through that and deleted all that. Friends I no longer talk to, gone. I just needed to clean it up, and she was like, you can't. Every photo I had a drink in my hand. One I leaned up against the wall with a beer. I don't even drink beer.
And so, you know what? That makes me a little sad, Darrell, because I'm like, that is when social media was fun, right? That like when we could post haphazardly because we were just sharing a night out. Like we were just having fun. You didn't have to worry about hashtags. You didn't have to worry about engagement. Words like content did not exist. Okay. That was not a part of the lexicon. We just posted for fun. There were no filters. There was none of that. And I think that because it is not fun anymore, and it's more of a place of illusion and branding and a marketplace and work. It's just, you know, like you said, we're growing up and we already got work to worry about. Social media don't need to be work too, and that's what it feels like.
Yeah. So Toccara, when you founded the Image Monster, was there like a specific moment in your life where you're like, things aren't good, I have this idea and I'm gonna do it?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. So my very first national commercial was in 2014, and it was for Time Warner, which is now Spectrum. And you remember that with Coach Cal?
I do remember that commercial.
I was super excited. It was a really fun commercial. And I went home. I'm from Dayton, Ohio. Whoop, whoop. I went home, and one of my extended family members, who shall not be named, I ain't gonna embarrass her. We were all over my uncle's house, and they were talking about the commercial, and like my cousins and stuff were so excited. My aunt was excited. My mom, and they were asking me questions about the commercial and about shooting it. And this extended family member looks at me and went, well, how do they make you look bigger on there? Because you look smaller right here, standing here in real life.
I actually know who that was.
And like literally, when I tell you the air sucked out the room, it was silent for like a good 2 seconds. And then my cousins start going in on her, like, well, have you lost your mind? Why would you ask her something like that? Like, it was actually heartwarming the way they jumped to my defense, because you know, Black families, they easily could have just shoved it under the rug, and you know, that's what normally happens to me. Keep on going,
or they all could have hogpiled.
Or they all could have started hogpiling and agreeing, but they ripped her a new one. They was like, Mama, what's wrong with you? Auntie, what's wrong with you? Grandma, what's wrong with you? They were going in. But you know, in the moment I was just like, oh, you know, I remember I kind of laughed it off, and even what I said, you know, kind of alarmed me. I was like, oh, well, you know, the camera adds 10 pounds. That's why I'd be like, you know, working out and fasting so I can lose 10, so I can just look like I do in real life on camera if I lose 10. And I just kind of laughed about it. And later, even as I said that, it just really made me come to grips with all of the things that I never talked about with friends or family. All of the body dysmorphia that I felt like I experienced through adolescence, through teenhood, through grad school. It was like her saying that really it put a voice to what I had always feared in my head.
Well, I think it's really remarkable that you chose to make that vulnerable time in your life into a positive thing for literally everyone, because a lot of people might have chosen to go the opposite way. So
yeah,
kudos.
thank you. Well, I mean, I started paying more attention to my thoughts. And then what it got me to thinking was like, well, I'm at this point, I'm a grown up, having these thoughts, but, oh my God, what about, my little cousins? What about the girls who are in high school right now? And they're looking at themselves more and more and more on social media. This is just me in a commercial, but they're looking at themselves right now on screens every day, all the time. Oh my God, this is a nightmare. And I started seeing how they would comment to each other on posts. I just started really paying attention, and I was like, no, I don't know how I'm going to address it yet, but I need to address this in my own way, both for them and to heal me. And yeah, that was when it started to be born. That was 2014, and then I took time to really research and build it, and we launched in 2017. 2017 at Lehman College was the very first workshop.
I love that, Toccara. Like, you said something kind of profound that I was just thinking. That's my thoughts were like kind of like flying, because recently, and I think Adam and Ashley both know this, and I think Braden might know this too. When I went home, I had an older relative who came by, and she made a comment about me being fat. Like, she was just like, "Oh, you done got fat." She said, "You don't look like you used to." And I'm like, "Well, the last time you saw me, I was in high school." So I would hope that I don't look the same as in high school, but
because I'm a grown man now.
And I made that comment. I said to her, and my response to her, it was something along the lines of like, "Well, we both big, so what we gonna do?" And there's still a way that people, I mean, I was wild, but there's a way you can't even feel like you can respond to elder Black people in your family, or like elder people in general. Like, you can't even say like, "Nah, I'm doing this," or "Nah, I'm doing that." So like Braden said, kudos to you for even defending yourself the way you did, because they could have been like, "You can't say nothing. I get to say this to you." And I even asked my mom and them, I said, "Why do y'all think it's okay for us to say?" They say, "That's how we do down here." Like, you, and I'm like, "Okay, but like how you do ain't right." And it's
how
not
we do
great.
ain't right.
Like you don't get to just comment on. Also, y'all don't get to comment on that when y'all are big. So like, what are we talking about?
Yeah,
like, that's crazy to me.
Family can be one of like I know we've talked a lot about social media, but family can be just as damaging, if not more, than the social media. And I know this because in the workshop, one of the activities we do, it's kind of it's an assessment exercise, I call it, but it's more of a game for them. It's, it's fun, and they don't realize that I'm gaining information through this game. And I have them go to corners of the room that correspond to the answers to a question that I give them. And one of the questions is, who do you consider beauty role models in your life, or whose opinions matter to you the most when it comes to beauty in your life?
Right.
And I'll say corner 1, family, corner 2, friends and peers, corner 3, social media and influencers and celebrities, corner 4, your own self-perception.
Oh, corner 4 for me, corner 4 for me.
Come on, but that's where we all trying to get to, is corner 4.
Good for you. Not everybody's there,
Yeah. And it is alarming. I always expected when I first started this that most of them would end up in social media influencers, celebrities corner. No, or even in the friends peers corner. No. Every time, even as recent as the one I did the workshop I did 2 weeks ago, the most students are in family. It's like,
I will say mine is my grandmother, and this is a call out podcast, so you two hiding your family members. I'll say it was my paternal grandmother, who I am named after. She used to make me feel so bad about my nose, and like her idea of beauty for so long was what my standard was.
Wow.
Yeah. It's amazing, because those first messages are lasting messages. Like, love my mama to death, and since we calling out, love her to death. Ma, if you hear this podcast, don't come at me, don't cuss me out, okay? But my mother, and she wouldn't even she probably doesn't even remember this, but I tried on her volleyball shorts that she used to wear in college, right? When I was like 12. And I thought they were so cute. I'm like, oh, look, my God, your shorts from college. She was like, oh, you look, and she meant it. She was like, you look so cute in them. Look at you. And then she added, oh, you a little bigger than I was at your age, but oh, they look so good on you. And I was stuck right there, right there.
Wow.
I couldn't even focus on the fact that she thought I looked cute anymore. It was all about, oh shit, at 12, I'm bigger than she was. That's wrong. I shouldn't be bigger than my mother was at 12 years old. Like something's wrong with me. You know what I mean? And like,
yeah,
so
the word big has always been tied to negative for some reason.
yes.
And I don't think that it needs to be, because when it's a big heart or a big check, we love that when it's big. We love that adjective. But when it's a big body, it's a big problem. And I'm just like, why is it? Why is it?
I need that on a t-shirt.
Why is it that
you better preach, Darrell.
Why can't we just love all different sides? Because we want big everywhere else except for how someone looks. And it doesn't make any sense to me.
Can I say why?
Yeah, no, go ahead, please.
White supremacy.
I could also say on the other side of big, which I guess is small.
Yeah.
People don't necessarily want to be so skinny. There's not just like an issue with it's all body image dysmorphia, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, and it's and you're 100% right. And it's like when people look at themselves in the mirror, it just changes something, because I have friends who I think are skinny and they look great, and they're like, yo, I'm humongous and I look horrible. And and for a long time, I was like, I ain't finna sit here and play this game with you. But then I was just like, but you know what,
Dylan?
You don't know what someone is going through. You don't know what they see in their eyes. You don't know how they feel and how, listen, because we also talked during the podcast, during sex, I think that's a big thing that happens, because here lately, when I'm being intimate with someone, which has been a while, but
Darrell, you were just talking in the green room about
sex and blowjobs are two different things. Keep it together.
But that's depending on who you ask.
Well, that's right.
So you think you preach, and I'm all here to be here to preach too.
Come on then. But like when I talked about this, like when they try to grab your when they try to grab your belly while you're doing something, I'm like, please don't grab my belly while we being intimate. And they're like, I like it. I was like, I don't. But like it's those little moments where you're kind of like feeling uncomfortable with yourself. And I think sometimes that lead people to being like, I don't want to be intimate. I don't want this because I don't like how I feel in this moment.
It's true. Absolutely. When I feel like I'm a little heavier than usual, I don't necessarily like to be on top.
No, I know that's right. Yo,
I'll be like, I don't need you to be looking at all that. Keep me down here. Keep me down here.
Like Blanche Dubois.
I haven't been intimate since I've gained the weight, and I think part of the reason is because I've gained weight.
This therapist session was free, and we hit it.
You know what I'm saying? Talk space.
Come on. Now, we have Ashley Mitchell. Do you have any questions? I know you have been on mute, like Beyonce's challenge said, but do you have anything you want to ask?
Did any of that conversation spur a question? Hello?
Oh my God. I have so many questions and so many comments. Gosh, where do I begin? I mean,
you're really tight that you're not here in person. You're tight that you can't do that. You're tight.
Yes, I am, but it is what it is. And Brayden, that was a good pun. Spur a question.
Yeah. Nice nails too, Ashley. Nice nails. Cute. Good job.
Oh, thank you. It kind of matches your top, Toccara.
I noticed that. I was gonna say something like,
"Oh, my favorite color."
They go with my blazer. Hey.
Yes. No, I mean everything you've been saying and everything everyone's been saying has been ringing so true to me. I've been overweight like most of my life, and my weight fluctuates, and so I've gone through all kinds of like being down on myself, criticizing myself. I also have moments of where I'm just like, hell yeah, I look good and X, Y, and Z. Right. But then it only takes one thing to, bring you down, and it's really hard. And I definitely do the taking breaks from social media. That definitely helps. It's sad that this day and age that there are still so many people that have horrible body images when there's so much body positivity out there, but it doesn't seem like it's enough, It's like
or it doesn't seem like it's genuine. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
Like there's
Toxic body positivity.
yes. There's
Yes.
an article that dropped just this week, y'all, in the New York Times. And it's talking, and I just, this was my most recent post today for the Image Monster. So, follow us at the Image Monster, at the Image
Oh,
Monster.
yes, man.
Stand
Instagram.
on
Oh, we're gonna plug it all.
Don't spend too much time on social media though.
I know, right? It's like I had to be on
That's a
there.
catch 22.
But this article dropped this week, y'all, and it is why it's explosive. It's about body positivity influencers who have recently lost weight and the backlash that they're receiving from their followers who feel a sense of betrayal, right?
So they're damned if they do and damned if they don't.
Yep.
Exactly.
What the hell?
Well, Oprah just announced today
Weight
actually
Watchers.
that she is
She's
going to be stepping down from the board of Weight Watchers because she's like, I personally do. She didn't name the drug that she does, but she's like, there's weight loss drugs out there. She's like, and that's what I've been doing, and I don't want to like cheat people. But now people are coming back and they're like, well, that means Weight Watchers don't work because that what they're trying to say that Oprah's like stepping down and trying something else when she was supposed to be doing that did not work with her body. And then someone came back and they said maybe it just didn't work with her body because everybody is different. And
Well,
her, maybe she kept gaining and all that. And this seems to be.
Actually, don't agree. I think that like, so you're supposed to eat and exercise on those weight loss drugs, and you're supposed to be reteaching yourself how to eat, and that's what Weight Watcher does. So I think it was a poor decision to step down. I think the smarter marketing decision is to be like, this can also be a companion.
Well, she
to
can't
there's more to
because the SEC, like she can't.
Oh, she can't.
Yes, so technically, if you're doing a different type of weight loss drug at the same time that you're doing anything like Weight Watchers, any of those diet programs, you cannot be promoting it, and you can't be on like I guess board representatives or something for it.
Okay. So there's more to that because I was part of the rebranding of Weight Watchers at an agency that I probably shouldn't name.
Then don't.
So we got a lot of flack. I'm not going to because I might need to go back there.
Immediately.
Don't burn bridges, boo. Don't burn bridges.
I can't because I already burned too many anyway. So we rebranded from the original Weight Watchers to WW.
I remember.
Like Kate Hudson was the spokesperson, blah, blah, blah. So we were trying to rebrand the organization as being a wellness brand, not necessarily a weight management brand. Got a lot of flack from that because people do need Weight Watchers and that system. So it goes back to what Darrell was saying about everyone's body being completely different. So when we rebranded, we didn't really focus on weight loss. We focused on
healthy
even mental health, like so broad. Like what does wellness mean? And that's not really what people went to Weight Watchers for, which we ended up learning. They went to Weight Watchers for losing weight, period.
You're right.
So anyway, long story short, it's the Weight Watchers brand has been in like a lot of, it's been tumultuous for a little bit.
I think that's for like everybody, especially now when you have other things out there like Ozempic, like Wegovy, like all the other like weight loss situations that a lot of people are and a lot of people are taking. And they're being honest about it, especially I feel like it's happening with a lot of reality stars, which what you were talking about, Toccara, people who see themselves on TV every day. They're like, that's why you have first season Housewives and second season Housewives, and there's a difference. Wendy Osefo,
Heather Gay just got shit.
Heather Gay
being on Ozempic.
Exactly.
It's not
Wendy
just
Osefo,
reality shows.
No,
it's actual. It's narrative shows too. Like I'm sure we all call out shows where like season 1, the character, the actors who were playing the characters were like, a good size 10, 12, and then the next season, all of a sudden they looking like a 6, a 4.
And honestly,
Mariska watch her.
What Braden, by the way, she shot in Rock Bar yesterday. They shot their scene in Rock Bar, but we'll talk about that later. But kind of what Braden was saying on the opposite of that, you see that a lot with people who may be skinny. Like I see a lot of guys who are skinny in season 1. We talked about it when we were watching Equalizer. In the first season, the character of Harry was just like, he had on sweaters and stuff. By second season, he was wearing muscle shirts and tattoos. And I'm like, that is a complete character change because I remember Lee Schreiber talked about this in Scream 3. He asked, could he take off his jacket and have on a white tight t-shirt because he'd been working out. He's like, I want to show off what I'd been doing. And looking at it now, I'm like, you ain't that big, but compared to how you are now. But at that time period, right. And at that time period, he was like muscled up, and even though like he's more muscled,
he was 90s muscled,
right? 90s muscled.
Sometimes that sacrifices the character. I find though, it's not that you feel like you want the person to make the decision that felt like it was right for them, of
Right.
course. But when it's a show like that, when it's a character that you've come to love and there's reasons you've come to love them, when they take one of those reasons away and it changes the character, from then on, then you're just like, oh, well, now there's something missing from this character where maybe I felt like I related to them and now I don't relate to them. You know what I mean? But it's a complex issue because even with the article that came out in the Times, with the influencers, like I empathize with one of the women, there was a quote in the article that just really kind of tugged at my heart. And she was like, I'll be honest, yes, I am on weight loss drugs. She also didn't name which one. People had speculated whether it was Ozempic or Mounjaro or whatever. She's like, yes, I am on the GLP-1 weight loss drugs. She was like, and I know that this will come as a shock and be painful to followers, but also it's just really hard being in this body that I've been in all my life. And I just wanted to feel what it would be like to not be in this body. And we are lying to ourselves if we tell ourselves there are not perks and advantages to not being in a larger body, because society shows me every day with this new body that there are perks and there are differences.
Yeah.
Are rewards and there are detriments.
People look at you differently. There is one of those little ads that you get, and this guy was gonna go meet his wife, and it was just being like a little example, and he saw this girl who he used to make fun of in high school, but he didn't even recognize her because she looked so like she was skinny. She looked what he wanted. He's like, oh my God, you're so beautiful, what's your name? And she's like, you don't remember me? Like, you used to call me Fat Sally. Like, what are you doing? And like that happens a lot of times when people change their image and how they look, people treat them differently. You do get treated differently. Listen, I know going to certain gay bars, like if I'm not a particular type, muscled up, what I'm gonna be ignored. I get that. That happens a lot of times, but they can get fucked because I look great.
So Toccara, before we let you go, are there any tips for our listeners that you could give them that they could do on literally a daily basis to kind of check themselves when it comes to social? Obviously, they can check out your social for those tips, but what's some advice that you could give our listeners?
For sure. Social media breaks are very, very key because we are now in such a visual society and a social media saturated time. So like honor that little voice that says, you know what, it might be time to take a step back from TikTok and Instagram and Facebook for any of you who are still on that. God,
what's that?
Right, it's so crazy.
I mean, I'm still on it too, but just because family is their child.
Same.
Another tool that I find really helps me is meditation. I know that it's thrown around a lot lately now. It's kind of the trendy thing to say, but like, no, truly, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Ain't nobody asking you to download the Calm app.
I love the Calm app.
I love the Calm app too. Okay. So don't get it twisted. I love the Calm. But even if it's just getting somewhere quiet by yourself, listening to absolutely nothing, listening to nature, because then your voice will come up, quieting the thoughts, quieting the thoughts that lie to you so that your actual voice, which is your spirit, comes up. And I know this kind of gets into more of the spiritual, but like that's where your real voice is, and that voice will not lie to you if you get still enough and quiet enough to listen to it, because that voice is the voice that is responsible for having made you just like you are.
Wow.
Amen. That's corner 4 right there.
Thank
corner
you.
5.
Well, I got a lot of voices. I got a lot of voices in my head, so I got to separate which one I need to listen to.
Yeah, you got to separate the voices now. That's
a whole nother podcast and a whole nother conversation, but I got to figure that out.
Toccara, will you come back?
Yeah, Toccara, you have to come back.
I would love to come back. This is
I'm not going to
do through a meditation.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not going to do like Whoopie-Doo and be like, come back and sit with us at the table, and they never come back. I mean it. Come back.
I really want to come back. This was mad fun. I just I'll talk about whatever with y'all. It ain't even got to be about the Image Monster.
Hot topics.
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna do some hot topics with you. There is gonna be an all female podcast coming up, and we would officially like to have you be on that podcast.
I officially and graciously accept.
Let's see.
Yes, we will do that. It'll be me. I'll email you the dates. I was gonna say we'll have someone do it. It'll be me. I love you. I love
You
you
sound
very
like me
much.
with the image monster. I'll be like, we'll be in touch. It'll be me.
It'll be me. It'll be me. Just changing my name. It's me.
No, that's a business. That's a true business owner right there.
That's it. Yes. Toccara, thank you so much for coming and joining us. Please let us know where we can find you on social media and your business, The Image Monster, on social media. As we said, we need to not be on social media, but we need to.
Well, you got to check it out.
You
got to
check it out
for too long.
Yeah.
Necessary evil, right?
Right.
So yes, you can find me on social media at Toccara Cash, spelled Toccarra, cash like money. And you can find the Image Monster on Instagram at the Image Monster.
Lovely.
Yay. I love you very much. And this interview was anything but trash.
I feel better about myself.
Yay!
Oh, good. That's always my
Yes.
aim. Yes, that you would think that doing this so much, when I hear positive feedback, that it's like, oh, she's probably used to hearing this. No, it makes my heart jump every time because I'm like,
Yeah.
that is exactly what I want to be happening. I'm just, eventually I want this to be a big deal. I want it not just to be for college age kids. I want to do conferences for grown-ups, you know.
Older people. Yeah, they
think
For
if you would
older,
like to
yeah.
test us, we could go on an Image Monster retreat with the
Yeah.
to test the like
a retreat is part of my
grown-up
bucket list
market.
And we can honestly take some of those older family members who like to say certain things
No, they can
and
say
help
no.
and help and help them through their struggles because
They can say
they need
no.
some
That's
help
right.
too.
It sounds like they don't.
Yes,
wanna
they
be here.
do. Yes, they do.
They
'Cause
do. Some of them do.
I'm good on
They
that.
doing numbers, spitting out the stuff that they've internalized over the years. That's why they
Right.
saying that. Yeah.
Because they don't know nobody's. And listen, and the reason I know that is because sometimes you can see a little bit of growth in certain things. Like I had a cousin recently that I met that was trans, and I thought I was for sure. I was like, my mama gonna definitely not get this right, and my mother got it right. All I had to do was tell her once, and she got it 100% right. So sometimes people can learn. An old dog can learn new tricks. Brayden, how's your dog? You want to show everybody your dog before we line off?
Well, this is a podcast. I don't think people can see.
Yes, they can because this video is recorded. It'll be on our YouTube channel.
Hey. Oh, I'm glad I wore something nice then because I was just gonna put on some sweats and I was like, let me look good for them.
Yes.
What's this one on? Because I am wearing sweats.
They're only seeing here.
I mean, it doesn't look like it. Hey, pumpkin. Oh my God, this dog, I'm obsessed.
He is just we don't know. We got to ask him.
Yes, they are adorable.
We love you, Toccara. We can't wait to see you on Women's Month. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I love y'all.
I love you too.
Bye.
Bye.